Hi guys, welcome to this video. So in our previous video, we have created a separate column for the total sales, like by using a custom column and by using a measure DAX function, right? As you can see here, we have created a total sales column here by using a custom column and then a total sales measure. Like we have seen, like which is the best for creating a visualization by while using a calculated column, right? So I think these both are same, but like for the custom column, like it will take like it will occupy some space on our table, but while you are doing a measure table, it will never occupy any kind of space on your table view. Like you can see here, when you go for the sales, like we have created a custom column for the sales. You can see it is viewing on the table view, but we have created a one more measure table for that, but it is not visible on the table view. It is just a function, right? So we have seen how to create this on our previous video. So now in this video we are going to see a measure table trick, and let us see the some advanced DAX measure which we are going to use this functions on our report. Okay, so we are going to do a report on this, right? So what are all the advanced DAX measure that we are going to use for this data? Okay, so at first let me just tell you the measure table trick, so it will be very easy for you guys to create your report. Okay, so we have created a measure for the total sales, right? If you go for the sales and under the sales, you can be able to see the measure. Okay, if we have created over 10 measures or 20 measures under the each single table, so it will be very hard for you to find the measure. You need to scroll like this, and then you can be able to find a measure like this. Okay, so I think this is not a kind of best practice for while you are creating a report. So it may be like uh, it may be confusing for you, how many measures we have created. Okay, we need to count everything, or else like if you need to go for the search, and if you need you need to search for like this, like total sales measure. Okay, so I recommend you guys, like I'll teach you some measure trick here, so it will be very useful for you to sort your measures separate in a separate table. Okay, so how we have created our measure. Okay, so we are going to, like, we have created a measure for the sales table, so we just go for this three dots and we have created a new measure inside the sales table. Okay, so let me just click on this measure. You can see the measure tool pop-up window has opened up, and here also you can see the various data categories and format tools for the measure table which we have created, like measure functions. Okay, so here you can see the home table as sales, because under the sales table we have created a measure for the total sales. Okay, so we can able to change this home table. Like if we need to change this home table as a product, it will be, this measure will be automatically transferred to the product table under the product table. Okay, so this will never impact any kind of data error for your report. Like it is just like a home table, like, because we have created a relationship between those product and the sales, right? So it will be automatically transferred a separate measure for this. So even though if we have drag this and drop this on our product table, okay, here also you will have more data, so it will confuse, like when you have measures, a single measure on a single table. Okay, so let me just create a separate table as a dummy table, and inside that table we can import all the measures which we are going to create in this visualization. Okay, so for that, let me go for the home and let me go for the enter data. Like here we are going to create a dummy table for our report. So let me just click on one here. Okay, so we need to enter some data to load our table, right? So here let me change this table name as measures measures table. Okay, or else you can also short form it as tbl. Okay, so let me just go for the load. Okay, and here you can see, like, the measure table which we have created has been imported in this mode, like a data table. Okay, so here you can see the column one, because we don't have any data for this. If you go for the measure table, you can have a value of 1, because we have typed only one value there. Okay, so let me go for the report view again. Now I am going to drag this measure and drop this on the measure table. Okay, So you can directly click on this measure and you can go for the home table, and I'm going to make a home table as a measure table which we have created as a new table. Okay, so I'm going to click this, and you can see like our measure, under the measure table our total sales measure has been positioned. Okay, so now we don't want this column 1, right? Because if you delete this column 1, this entire table will be deleted, and now you can't able to make this measure as a home table for this measure table. If you delete this column 1 before importing your measure, this entire table will be deleted. Okay, so for that we need to import the measure first, and then we can able to delete this column 1. So I'm just going to delete this from our model. Okay, so keep an eye on this measure table icon, and the location which the where the measure table has been placed, because while we are having this column 1, it is placed 1 2 3 and at the fourth position of this data table. Okay, and also see the symbols. Okay, if I click on yes, you can see, okay, you can see the measure table that we have created has moved toward the top position of this table data view, and you can see the icon as a calculator icon for here, and it has many calculators icons. Okay, okay, under this we have our total sales measure. Okay, so why I have created a separate table for this? Okay, so here, like if you need to go and if you need to search for any kind of measure, like if you need to suddenly if you need to search for a total sales here, like it will be visible under the sales view or under the sales people, like where we have created our measure. Okay, so if you have created a separate table for the measure, you can directly just go for this and you can search what are all the measures that we have created inside this measure table. If you need to create another more measure for your like data, or you can get a kind of for your report, you can directly click on these three dots and you can go for the new measure, where this new measure will be created under this measure table. Okay, so you can directly connect the data with the sales and or it's like a location or a product. You can make for the formulas for any kind of these data. Okay, so this is a kind of measure table trick. Okay, so where you can use, or else like you can directly go for this table tools and you can directly click on this new measure, or else if you need to rename this table name, you can directly go for the rename here and you can rename this table. Okay, so this is the trick for the measure table. So it will be very useful, like if you know this trick, and if you are going to create advanced data modeling, this will be very useful for this. Okay, so yeah, we have created separate tables for our measure tables. Now we can directly go for some advanced DAX measure which we need to create in this visualization. Okay, so for now we have created total sales measure in our previous video, right? So now I'm going to create a separate measure for the total cost of the product. Okay, so for the total cost of the product, let me go for the table view. Let me go for the sales. So for the total cost, like we don't have any kind of data in this sales table. We just have quantity only. And if you need to know about the cost, we need to go for the product table, and here you can see the cost for the each product has been placed here. Okay. So for total cost, we need to like yeah, we need to multiply the cost with the quantity, right? So the cost will be on the product table and the quantity is on the sales table. Okay, so then how we are going to multiply the cost of the product table, and how we can going to multiply the quantity, like the cost with the quantity on the sales table. So we are going to multiply two columns from the separate table. Okay, so let's see how we can use a measure for this. Okay, how we need to create a DAX formula for this. Okay, so let me just go for the new measure. So now for now I'm going to create, like we have created a separate table for the measures, right? So we can directly go for this table, and here you can go for the new measure, or else you can click on this new measure here. Okay, so let me just go for the new measure here. Let me just zoom this for a better view. We just drag this. Okay, so for this new measure, so this will be our total cost. So I'm going to name it as total cost equal to, so now we need to multiply the quantity from the sales table and the cost from the product table. So for multiplying, I'm just going to use the sumx function here, sumx of table and comma expression, you can see here. Okay, so for the table, so let me just select the sales table here. So sales, okay, and then the next that we have to enter here is expression. Okay, so for this expression, so I'm going to multiply this like the quantity on the sales table, so quantity, and here you can see the sales quantity. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply this quantity. Let me go for the multiply the quantity with the cost of the product table. So like if you type cost here, you can't able to see the cost is taken here. So why the cost has been not like not implemented in this formula? Because like we have created this formula, right? So sumx of table and expression. Why this table is here, why we have given it as a sales table? Because we are going to import the quantity column from the sales table, so we need to mention the table name as the first, and then we can't be able to import the cost from the other table because we have mentioned the sales table here. So we can able to only like create a formula for the columns which are all present inside this sales table. Okay, so if we need to get another data from the another table, like you can use a function named as related. If I type related here, you can see this function is here, and then if you create a related here, and you can see the column name. So for the column name, I'm going to use the cost, and you can see the product cost has been created here. Okay, so let me just close this. Okay, so now our formula is created. So I think you guys can able to understood why we are using this related function here, because like let me just explain you one more thing one more time here. Like for the sumx, we have mentioned the sales table name, and we have mentioned the expression as a quantity under the sales table. But for the cost, we can't able to mention the same sales column because we need to multiply the with cost which is present on the product table. So we can directly type product cost here because it is not under the sales table. Okay, so we have to use the related function here. So let how this related function is using, because like we have created a relationship between the product and the sales by dragging the product id, right? By like we have seen in the previous video about the model view, like we have created a relationship for the sales table and the product table, so we can directly use related function here. If you guys have not created any relationship between this product table and the sales table, you can't able to use this DAX measure. Okay, so for that we need to create a relationship between these tables, and then now we can use a related function here. Okay, so I think you guys can able to understood here this point. Okay, so I'm just going to click here. Okay, we have completed with our measures, and you can see the total cost measure has been created. So let me just close this, and yeah, let me just paste in this table. I'm going to click on this total cost, and you can see the total cost is created here. So we need to create some formatting option for this, so I'm going to just click on this total cost, and here you can able to see the measure tools here. So I'm just like, if you need to rename this home table, you can also go for the tables, but because we have created a separate table for the measures, so I'm just okay with this. Okay, and also you can rename this measure if you want, and I'm going to format this as a currency as a US dollars, and you can see it is formatted correctly. Okay, and the sort, like if you need to sort based on ascending, you can just click here, because like we have sorted this based on the product name, so it will be sorted like based on this product name column. Okay, so like this is how we can use the total cost feature here. Like we have created another DAX function measure for this. Okay, so then we have created a total cost and the total sales. Now we need to create another measure for the total profit. Okay, how we can find the total profit? So total profit is nothing but we need to subtract the sales from the cost. Okay, so the sales minus cost, it will be the profit, right? So let me just create another measure for this. So I'm going to create a measure under this table. You can directly go for this, and if I can click new measure here, or else like you can directly click the new measure here. Okay, so which will be created under the measure table here. So yeah, let me just expand this and let me just zoom like this. Okay, and here I'm going to rename this as total profit. Total profit equal to, like, it will be the direct subtraction, right? So we need to subtract the total sales and the total cost. Like, we don't have any specific column for the total dates and the total cost. Okay, so let me just yeah, so, like, we don't have any data for the separate total sales and total cost. So for that we have created a separate measure for the total sales and total cost. So we can directly we can directly subtract with these two measures. Okay, so for the total profit, like I said before, we need to multiply like total sales, and you can see the total sales measure column is highlighted here. So we can use the measure for creating another measure. Okay, if I click on this, okay, and then we need to subtract this with the total cost. Okay, so total cost. Okay, here you can find this measure. So these two are measure, so we can directly use this measure for creating a new measure. Okay, so you can able to find a small difference for the text color while we compared for the previous measures. Here you can see the black font for the normal, okay, for the normal name, and here you can see the for the measure tables which we have imported for this formula. It is like it have some purple color, right? So while you are importing a measure into your new measure, you can able to view this text color, or like you can able to view this measure name on the purple color highlighted here. Okay, so this is not a kind of big role, like it did not play a big impact for your report. It's just a visualization. Okay, so let me just close this, and now we have created our total profit here. So I'm just going to drop this total profit into this table, and you can see the total profit here. So now let's go for the formatting tools, and let's format this as a currency format. And now you can able to see the total profit for the each and every products as mentioned here. So total profit is nothing but like total sales minus total cost. So it will be the total profit. So it will be the for the all the data it is have been updated, and here you can also see the total profit for the total for all the products. Okay. So we have created total cost and total profit by using some different DAX measures. So the next one is like we need to create a profit margin percentage. Okay. So for the profit margin, like we need to divide the total profit by total sales. So then we can be able to get the percentage for the total profit margin. So I'm going to create another measure here. So go for the new measure here. Okay. So let me just okay, just zoom this, and yeah, here I'm going to rename it as profit margin. Profit margin equal to, so we have to divide the profit by sales. Okay, so just going to divide total profit. Okay, so divided by total sales. So now we can able to get our profit margin. Okay, we are directly dividing the profit by the sales measure. Okay, so I highly recommend you guys to not use this DAX measure. Okay, so why I'm telling you like this? Okay, because if you are going to divide the profit by sales, if you are going to use any kind of divide tool, if your denominator is zero, you will got some zero error. Okay, zero error on your visualization. Or by like if you are going to divide 1 by 0, like you will get some zero error there. Okay, right? So I can't, like if we use this divide function here, like if you use this device like a divide symbol here, you will found you may have some zero error for this. So I highly recommend you guys to not use this divide function here. So instead of that, I'm going to delete all this, and then like for the zero error, I'm going to use a separate tool for dividing this. So that's kind of divide tool. If I type divide here, you can see the function here. This is a divide tool, and you can able to see the numerator and the denominator. Like we have to mention like this. We can't we don't want to use the divide symbol again here, because we have created a function here and an alternative result. Like if you have any zero errors, like you can also enter alternative result, but this is a kind of optional because it has a some separate bracket for this. So this is optional. If you need, you can also create an alternate result, or else you can directly go on with the numerator and denominator, and you can use this divide tool. But if I go down, you can also see this, right? Save divide function with ability to handle divide by zero case. Okay, so let me just go for the numerator. For the numerator, I'm going to use the total profit. So total profit, and then comma. So the next one, it will be denominator. For the denominator, I'm going to use total sales. Yeah, total sales measure. Yeah, and then like we can directly, because we don't want any kind of alternate result for this, because we don't have any zero value on our table. So I'm just going to close this. Okay, so if you need to add any kind of alternate value for this, you can also add by your own by an open bracket here. Okay, so this tool will be very useful, like if you are going to divide any kind of options. Okay, so let me just close this. Okay, and you can see the profit margin is got created. So let me just go on for the report view here, and for the profit margin, let's go for the formatting tools, and I need this as a percentage. And you can also increase the decimal values, like if you need like a three more decimal values, decimal places, you can also add here, increase this. But I'm going on with this default. Okay, so let me just click on this table, and I'm going to add this profit margin into this table, and you can see our profit margin has been created based on the percentage. Okay, so if you need to increase this decimal points, if you click on this, and you can see three decimal points has been placed on this profit margin. But I don't want this, so I'm going to use this default as a two decimal point here. Okay, and then like yeah, we have created around three more advanced DAX measures here, and we have created a separate table for our DAX measures where all our measure table will be placed here. If you need to access the total like a profit margin, like if you have placed this on the below any kind of tables, you need to drop down each table and you have to find where is that measure. So instead of that, we have created a simple measure trick here. So if you go for this measure table, you can be able to find all the measures which we have created in this report. Okay, it will be very easy for accessing all the measures, or else like you can also do this for any kind of visualization. Okay, so once you click on this table, and you can go for the format tables. Okay, and you can see the values, and you can also increase the size for the values, so it will have some big view while you are presenting. Okay, and like you can also explore what are all the tools available in this table formatting for the grids, values, and for the column headers, totals, and for the specific columns. Okay, if you guys need any specific video for formatting this entire table, and like what are all the tools available in this table, I can explain this on a separate video. So if you want this, you can comment below, and then I will put a separate video for how to format a table exactly for your organization and not for your like a project. Okay, so you can also comment below, and I will put videos based on this. Okay, so that's all for this video, guys. Like we have created our measure tables here, and we have seen some advanced DAX measure and how we can create measure for the separate tables for the individual columns on the separate tables. Okay, so thank you guys. Like we will see in next video. Until then, bye.